Hi everybody, welcome. Rob Provencher here from photosuccess.com. I've had the pleasure in the last week to run two presentations with two of my favorite photographers, Maggie from Oakville, Ontario, and Maria from Pittsburgh. This is part of a series I've called the Sales Secrets to Success Sales for Photographers. You know what I mean. Anyways, I want to talk to you a little bit about selling your photography, because after I didn't photograph them. After I ran these two presentations with Maggie and Maria, both independently, they don't know each other, but I know them, and they're two of my favorite photographers ever, because they're so passionate and they do a lot of the right stuff when it comes to marketing. So when you're looking at your photography business, just like in their photography businesses, you've got to really look at the whole picture and look at what it is you're offering, what is the experience you're bringing to your clients, and how do you sell your particular product. So that's what I was getting into, was the actual sales aspects, because I find that stuff very, very fascinating, especially in today's day and age where the culture of photography, the industry has shifted and changed so much. I've been saying this for decades, that photographers have had it very, very easy because, you know, a lot of photographers just kind of had to get some equipment, get good, get some business cards, open up a storefront. And, you know, if they did a lot of stuff right, business would literally just come to them. Those days are over, because marketing is a big, big, big part of the game that we have to play now. So, and with these two photographers, the way they market, what I found really fascinating was they were so uniquely different. So Maria talked about how she gets a lot of her clients from Google searches, which I was like, wow, I had no idea. She ranks pretty high on Google, and she showed some of her strategies on how she gets high rankings, and I was totally blown away. I thought I pretty much knew it all. Well, you know. But she really it's quite an eye-opener. But here's the thing, and I told this to Maria before. I said, don't you do any networking in your town? Do you get out into community-based events? And virtually she said no. I was like, you know, if you did that, man, you would totally dominate. But the fact that she doesn't, well, she's got a very strong reputation, and her place is awesome. It's a bowling alley converted to a studio. And when you walk in, it's like top-notch, first class. She told me it's in a bit of a sketchier area, but when you walk in, it's just like palatial. This is important. Even if you have a very small studio, even if it's in the basement of your home, you want to create an awesome experience and use the decor, the sights, the sounds, the smells. This is something I've always believed in. That's part of the sales process. So Maria has that going for her. But the fact that she doesn't really, in my opinion, and why I suggested to her to get out there in the community, she doesn't really maximize that. Now, Maria does do a lot of cool stuff. Well, her work is amazing, first of all. And her sales process that she explained to us, bar none, one of the best I've ever seen anywhere. She has an actual step-by-step process. Very, very detailed, very ballsy. Totally love it. But she also does a lot of event photography, like, you know, Santa pictures and what have you, throughout the year. I encouraged her last winter to do fairy portraits, and she started doing them. She said she had tried them a few years ago and it didn't work for her. I said, well, you're doing something wrong, because your work is amazing. So she tried them with my encouragement, and boom. Using the sales strategy she already had in place, boom, through the roof. Boom, pa-choom. So that was what was pretty cool about that. So when you get a sales process in place, you know, and a marketing system in place, and you really hone the marketing system, you got the products there, you're there, you deliver a good product, you deliver a good experience. That's all got to be there initially. That's how you determine who your market is. And then if you have that in place, then you can sort of spin off there. You can like tweak your sales process. You can add more marketing promotions. You can get out there and do more networking, assuming you have the core fundamentals taken care of, which is what she has. So when she got into fairy portraits, it was sort of an easy walk into. I don't know what she did wrong a couple years ago when she said she tried it. I'm not sure. But maybe I helped her sort of clear it up with the new system that she's now using for ferries. Maybe she just got better at sailing. I don't know. I should ask her one day. But the important thing is that it's really, really working for her. So now, the next week I had a presentation with Maggie. You know, I love doing these. I love bringing these to the marketplace, to the industry, to you, to photographers, so that you can learn from others who are like in the trenches, actually making it work. I've always been very passionate about learning. I've always felt very strongly about the idea that as an independent business owner, you're constant, especially somebody in photography, you're constantly growing, you're constantly adding to your skill set. I know a lot of photographers really get heavy into doing print competitions. I know Maggie does. I know Maria does big time. And I don't really get involved in any of that. I used to back in the day, and I was really all enthralled by that for a while. But I spend most of my time and energy on marketing, creating events, and networking. Maggie has a very similar situation in that she's in and around the same age as Maria. They've never met, by the way. And I want to get these two at a webinar, sort of a mastermind. I think they're going to really click. They're both the same age. They both have their own studios. They own their own real estate. Maggie's place is in a very high-end town. Oakville, Burlington area, Southern Ontario is very, very high-end. That was the area she wanted to get into. She projects that in her studio. Her studio is very, very high-end looking. When you walk in, it's palatial. Maria's place is amazing. Maggie's is even like Taj Mahal, a notch higher, and it's probably, yeah, it's actually smaller than Maria's, but it doesn't matter. I mean, who's comparing? That's not the point. The point is that the brand is there, and she's projecting this brand. And the way Maggie gets her business is literally 100% through networking. So it's almost like the complete opposite of Maria. So, and I've always known that about Maggie, because she's very, very active in her community, and she talks about all the stuff she's done. There's too much to go into right now, but there's a lot of stuff in her community. She's very, very active, and I was totally blown away. And she's actually created some of her own events that she's brought to her community that are very, very successful, and they're growing every year, year by year. Totally, totally inspiring. I'm totally blown away by that. So when Maggie gets a sales going on, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted, sorry. My brain works that way sometimes. It doesn't matter, but here's what I mentioned to Maggie. It was kind of the opposite of Maria. You know, I told Maria, you got to get out and network more and not rely 100% on Google. Google's a good thing. Maggie is embarrassed that her website, she hasn't touched it in years, and she's like, oh, I don't even need a website, Rob. I don't need a website. It's like, I don't get my business from the website. And I'm like, well, if you use the website and if you ramped up your online marketing, it's really not hard to do. It's not hard to dominate Google if you do it properly and if you have a good product. Maria showed us that. And I told this to Maggie, I said, if you dominate the online, she already dominates the network, and she's very much into networking, so that's FaceTime in her community through events and showing up at events, right? So this is awesome. Now imagine adding the other component, which is online. Total domination is what I'm talking about. So all of this to say that that's what brings the clients to the door. What is important from that point on is what's called the sales process. I mean, well, getting them to the door is all selling. Everything is selling, really, when you get down to it. Marketing is selling. But the one-on-one selling, when you actually sit down face-to-face. Reg Mess said this years ago when I interviewed him. He said when they come in to see the pictures after the session is done, the sales process is over. They've been sold. They've been sold. And that's very, very valid. So you got to remember that. There's no tricks, there's no techniques, there's no equipment, no strategies, no real photographic style that's going to make it come together for you. The sales process is a large part of, well, the work that you create and the experience you give your client, and when you come in and then you sort of take them step by step by step through this process, which is at its core, you're taking orders, you're taking their order. but you use a process, you show the proofs and you go through them. And that's where, in many ways, that's the easy part, assuming everything else is done properly. So I notice one thing about both these photographers, and I feel the same way, is it's strictly face-to-face selling. Online selling does not work for the most part. There are exceptions to the rule, like when people are from out of town and you have a big family gathering, but those are really exceptions to the rule. So, but anyways, I really enjoyed these presentations with Maggie and Maria, and we've got more in the schedule coming down the pipes. I got Warren Noyce coming very, very soon, and a few others who I will announce later. But the important thing is that you are learning to sell, and you are applying some of the strategies that are, we share these ideas amongst each other on how to grow our photography businesses, make more money, get better at selling, and never really ignoring the whole sales process. I know for some people it's challenging. They're scared. And some people say, well, I'm not a natural born salesperson. Nobody is. Some people are more outgoing than others. Granted, I'll give them that. But selling is a learned skill. You get better at it. And if you want to be successful, you must learn to sell. I like using systems like what Maria showed us, because that way when you have a system, you just follow the system. Do this, then I do that, then I do that. And then it makes my job easier, so I'm not reinventing the wheel every time I have a sales session. So, all right, thanks guys. I hope I've given you some useful information, and do sign up for my newsletter. It's free. Send out sometimes annoying, sometimes very valuable and information rich, and emails that I send out to everybody and trying to help you along. All right, thanks. Bye.